Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And we are not in Naples, I swear. We are still in Hoboken, New Jersey, and we are here at beautiful Alessio's Cafe and Pizza, located at 539 Park Avenue. And yes, I am on a Vespa here. I haven't seen it since I've been in Italy. The owner said I couldn't drive it around, unfortunately, but I might sneak it. We'll see what happens. But we're going to have an exclusive interview with Luca, the owner here. We might be trying their fare, and we're just going to be having a good time overall. So why don't we head inside, or maybe stay out here? We'll see what Luca wants to do, and let's have some fun. All right, we're here outside Alessio's, and of course, we're joined by Luca Infantino, the owner here. How are you, sir?
I'm good and good. Welcome, Peter. Welcome to
I'm
Alessio's.
so happy to have you, and I'm so happy to hear that accent. I mean, I hear it every day at home, of course, with my father, but this is as authentic as it comes. So, Luca, how long have you been here?
I came in this country in 2011
Okay.
with a different experience. I used to work in the fashion industry for quite some time, 8 years.
Is that true?
But that's very true. I used to work in New York City for 8 years. But my passion was always for food. So my dream was always to open a place like this. And that's it. We're here now.
And now I could tell because, of course, he's wearing the absolute phenomenal shirt over here. and of course, I'm wearing a T-shirt over here, so that's okay. I'm always underdressed, I feel like. So, Luca, now, you're here since February. Of course, we had the pandemic begin in
Yes.
March. I mean, it must have been an extremely tough time to open during this time. Did you have to close after you opened in February?
Not really, because opening in February for us was really an opportunity to do a nice menu, especially for a brunch menu for upside, coming the spring. And I didn't have any customer, so
Wow.
for me closing was not really an option because no customer. So being closed means that I'm not losing anything and I'm not gaining anything. So I was open March, April, and May. Just me and my pizza man dealing with 2-3 customers a day.
And you know what's funny, Luca? I'm sure that business was actually pretty good because everybody was home. I mean, and there wasn't many places to eat at that time because a lot of the restaurants in town closed. So people were. This is a very, very popular neighborhood on 5th and Park. People were probably coming in here like, "What's this new place?" Correct?
Indeed.
Yeah.
No, I saw this like an opportunity because opening a new place, you always get at the beginning a lot of rush. Everybody's coming, is trying you out, and there is a lot of space for mistakes. So for us, it was an opportunity to do the things in the right way, to get in touch with every our customer, see what they like, see what's the mood of the city in Hoboken, and also gave us the opportunity to change something already in the menu. We set up a menu that is more casual, more not sitting down, very fast, especially because everybody's working from home now.
Exactly.
So
And
we're getting a lot of customers that they work in New York City and now they're working from home. So.
Exactly. And I said it, this reminds me of your corner cafe in Napoli. And of course, that's where Luca's from. I don't know if you want to tell the audience where you're from in Italy, because I'm sure my parents definitely want to know.
Yes,
So,
it's a small town close to Naples. It's called Benevento.
Benevento, of course. I
Benevento.
remember the soccer team. They were in Serie A, no?
Yeah, record year. It's famous for the strega.
The
It's-
Strega, that's right.
the liquor,
That's right.
yeah.
That's
The witch.
excellent. Excellent.
The
All right.
witch.
So now you've made me this incredible panini here. I'm going to dig in. Darian, Krista, you're missing out. Suckers.
Sorry.
What do we have here, Luca?
So it's a panini made in our house bread. I have
Wow.
an amazing pizza man that makes amazing panini.
Okay.
He makes for me the panini every morning. If you come in the morning, they're still hot, and we're selling tons of those every day, especially for lunchtime.
And this is sausage and peppers, correct?
That's sausage and peppers, yes. It's not ideal as a panini because, as you know, the sausage
know.
goes all over.
I know.
But still
well,
good.
I thought I was wearing a white shirt. I might get it messy, you know what I mean? Excuse me for talking. Now, you are a little bit of a unique restaurant in town because you have pizza, you have paninis, and you have gelato here. I mean, that's according to what your sign says here.
Yes.
Do you feel as if you want to try to cover all the bases of Southern Italian cuisine?
Yes, we also have a very specific little pasta selection that is
Okay.
comes really from Campania. You know, we have the gnocchi sorrentina, we have the pasta allo scarpariello. I'm sure you heard about from your father
of course.
Pietro. We also have the Neapolitan baked ziti that is we call in Italy macaroni al gratin. It's basically with bechamel sauce, breadcrumbs. That's my scope here, to bring something that is not in town, something that is different than penne vodka that we don't even have in Italy, different
No.
than spaghetti meatballs that we don't even have in Italy.
Chicken parmesan.
We don't have in Italy, so
Exactly.
something different that can accommodate also the taste of the Hoboken customer, and something that it really gives the experience and the authenticity of many of our customers that travels a lot. They go often to Italy, and they see that we really do something authentic.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, what are your hours here? When can people come see you? Now, of course, as of this week, Governor Murphy opened up 25% indoor seating capacity, but you have plenty of seats here outside. When can people come see the great Luca at Alessio's? And by the way, you gave me the backstory about what Alessio's name was. Can you, I wonder if
Yes,
you could share that with the
Alessio's
audience.
is my baby name.
How old is your baby?
2 years old yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
people-
2 years old yesterday is a terrible 2 already. And, you know,
Great. I mean, that's fantastic.
it's my gift from God. And actually, I named the place Alessio's because my good friend of mine said, you need to name a place Alessio's because it's going to be like a baby for you. So you're going to treat this place like your baby. And if he has the name of your baby, you're going to be good.
Excellent.
And so far, so good.
So far, so good. And your hours here?
We right now open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day,
Wow.
except Monday.
Okay.
But we have a school next to us. So
Yeah.
from next week, we're going to open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, including Monday.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look, that's a hard-working Napolitan, as we say.
Sì, corretto.
All right. We're going to have some ice cream here because this panini was absolutely fantastic.
Gelato.
Oh, my God. Thank you for the correction. 100%. Mom and Dad, I'm totally sorry. Luca was here to correct me. Totally sorry, Mom and Dad. We're going to have some beautiful gelato. Is there a specific flavor you're going to give me or what?
I'm going to give you nocciola, that is very popular, hazelnut.
Of course.
And
Gelato's made in-house, by the way, Luca?
is made in Perugia, Italy.
Oh, even better. Well, nothing's better than homemade, but the next closest thing. You know what I mean?
It's being shipped every couple of weeks.
Fantastic.
To the country.
Wow.
It's getting a little bit more difficult because the logistic during COVID
It's tough.
is a little tough, but
Don't mind
especially mangia.
Delicious. Go ahead. Sorry.
Especially in August, that in Italy nobody works, including during COVID. So,
La
but,
Feria di Augusto, no? Whatever
yeah,
they
but
say.
so you're gonna try the nocciola and the tiramisu.
Excellent.
Something.
Why don't we try it out?
Sure.
So just that quickly, we now have beautiful gelato in front of me here, and I cannot absolutely wait to indulge. But Luca was telling me something about his breakfast sandwiches.
Correct.
And I want you to be as specific as you were with me that in Italy, people don't usually eat eggs in the morning. So the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, so breakfast sandwich is not something that in Italy we eat in the morning. We are more like a cornetto cappuccino, like a croissant and a cappuccino. But my idea here was to have the breakfast sandwich, very popular in town, very popular in this part of the country, with an Italian twist. So basically, we put something that is Italian. For example, we have a caprese sandwich that is made with fresh mozzarella, with prosciutto di Parma, 18 months aged, with basil aioli. That is giving a twist, something that it reminds
Excellent.
the
It
Italy.
reminds me of it. Exactly. So you can come in here now at 7 a.m. and have a breakfast sandwich. I mean, not much of the workforce is unfortunately back to work.
Yes.
So people can eat breakfast, and you serve breakfast all day here. Or?
We serve breakfast all day,
Excellent.
especially on the weekend, and we have an amazing coffee too. It's coming from
Oh, yeah, the
a small
cafe.
roastery in Sicily. That is it's very gourmet coffee. We don't advertise our coffee so much like we advertise other things, but I can say it's the best coffee in town. I'm a coffee guy.
I can tell you, and I'm a gelato guy. And this is the best gelato I've probably had in the state of New Jersey, right here at Alessio's.
Thank you.
I mean, the one in the front, by the way, and your worker here was trying to test me, but of course, my parents were born in Italy. The one in the front closer to me was the tiramisu, and the one behind it was the nocciola, which is absolutely phenomenal. Luca.
That's the best seller.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, you can have this
Thank
at
you.
any time, in my opinion. Take it to go. Bring it in, put it in your freezer. Do whatever you need to do.
You cannot imagine how many gelato we sell on delivery.
I can imagine. Oh my goodness.
5, 6 flavors every
You must have a
night.
very fast delivery driver to make sure it gets during this heat.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Exactly.
I always say to my customer, service is terrible, but food is very good here.
Well, look, as long as the food is good, they'll keep coming back. The service will catch up. Trust me. All right, we are out of time. Where can people find you on social media?
We are on Instagram 24 hours a day.
Gotcha.
That I take care personally.
All right. Wow,
because
look at that.
I have also passion in marketing.
Yeah.
And experience
And
in marketing.
fashion. I mean,
yeah,
that
experience
shirt.
in marketing in the past.
I can't pull off that shirt, by the way.
We are on our website, alessiosoboken.com.
Excellent.
We are on Facebook, of course.
Excellent.
And we are implementing an app where people, like a Starbucks app, that people can download,
Better than Starbucks.
can order food, can order drinks, they can pick up, they can deliver to their house. And we have a loyalty program that people, every time they come here, they join our loyalty program.
Oh.
It's not a spam. We just, they just get points, and every 75 points tier, 100 points tier, 125, they get something for free.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Luca Infantino, it's such a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Are we invited ever back or no?
Say again?
Are we invited ever back here? or
Of
no?
course.
We have to come try
I'll
with
give you the
Gary and
keys.
Krista. Oh, she's going to give me the keys. Wow. This is that's how you know it's a neighborhood place, when he even trusts you with his business in your own hands. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We look forward to coming back, folks. We'll be right back. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at the Pulse with Peter B, and make sure you like and follow us on there. We're constantly updating that page with new information. And also on Instagram, for all you grammars out there, make sure you follow us there as well. We're constantly putting these really cool stories, previewing all of our episodes. And if you don't want to DM us through our Instagram or message us through our Facebook, you can always email us. And that's at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Moda, and I'm filling in for Peter B, and I'm here with Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hi, it's so good to have you. So much better, I can tell already, than the regular host of this segment, Peter B, who is a horrible person. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? I'm happy to be here.
Good, good. So in the political and governance world, I think there's a number of new things we've seen across the nation, and in particular in Jersey City, the rise of the defund the police movement. Not in the political class so much in Jersey City, but definitely a strong movement. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do, and I'm speaking for myself here. I think police officers have a very tough job.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, they're also sworn to protect the people who they serve. So with that said, I'm a big believer that there needs to be some sort of money allocated, or more money allocated, towards community policing and services that are going to bridge a gap between police officers and the residents that they are serving. So at the end of the day, police officers you're never going to encounter a police officer in your happiest moment in life. Usually you call a police officer if you need help or if you're in trouble. So there's always going to be some sort of conflict. I just think there should be some sort of money allocated specifically to bridge gaps. I can think of an example I know that's happening in Union County right now. I believe there's a town, like the police department is working with a local restaurant, and when they see kids on the street doing good things, they're going to give them like their own little citations, so to speak, to go get a free slice of pizza. Like I think that's the kind of investment we need to be doing, and really connecting the police departments with the community. What are your thoughts?
Oh no, I think that's really positive. I think from a political angle or society cultural angle, the defund the police movement is definitely to the detriment of society. And I think that the examples that you're talking about of having more community-based policing, having more foot patrols, and then having those cops engage in the community, especially amongst the younger members of the community, in positive ways like that, is definitely a step in the right direction. And I think to Mayor Fulop's credit in Jersey City, he's not indulged the defund the police movement, even though some people that might eventually run against him have flirted with it or even jumped on board. But I definitely think community policing is the way to go. And also, I think we need less laws. because I think a lot of friction between cops and people aren't because the cops are bad people. It's just because there's too many darn laws, and that leads to more negative interaction. But at the same time, there was a burglary, robbery, breaking and entering on my block 2 weeks ago, and someone smashed in a glass door of a pipe shop and tried to steal one of the glass pipes that is totally just for tobacco. One of the neighbors that lives above chased the guy away. And then the cops came, and so you're always glad to have the cops come.
Right, I think that's important. I respect law enforcement. I have a lot of law enforcement in my family, but I also think there needs to be more accountability. And I do agree that there is profiling of people, and I like that you brought up the foot patrols, because I think that's actually a really important way when you're walking down the street to have a police officer stop and ask you how your day is, or talk to them and see that they're also people too. And everyone makes mistakes, but when you're sworn to protect people, you also need to be held to a higher standard.
Oh, I definitely agree on that front, but I think there's a lot. I think a lot of things that get confused for profiling are based on the crime stats data for particular neighborhoods, and any particular neighborhood is generally going to have a majority of one group or the other. So I know, like, people across the river in New York City were down on the CompStat system. Because they said it led to more policing in black and brown communities. But that's also where most of the crime, or more of the crime, was happening, and it was, black on black or brown on brown crime. So it's a question of, do you want to leave people to be victims of crime in their own neighborhoods or not? And I think people don't want that.
I mean, I'll leave you with this. I have a friend who's an Uber driver. Made a turn into a parking lot on the wrong entrance, private property. Cops saw nothing. A black woman got in the car. 2 minutes later, after the black woman got in the car and the car drove away, the Uber driver was pulled over, because right after a black woman got in the car. Didn't say anything until a black woman got in the car. So that's in a predominantly white neighborhood. So that's my concern with the profiling. It happens more often than I think people like to think.
Listen, I definitely think there's definitely bad apples, but
I'm not saying this cop was a bad apple, and I don't think this was, an example of everything that's wrong with it. But it's these subtle things too that there needs to be a change.
There's definitely room for improvement. We can both agree there, on every front. But moving on to what's going on in town in Hoboken, maybe you can tell us about the lawsuit that Mayor Bala made against the oil companies for the fact that it floods in Hoboken. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So again, I'm just going to speak for myself. What my opinion is here, that there are. I do have some concerns with it. I like that they agree, that they say that there's no cost to taxpayers. A little concerned with one of the clauses in there about how they could hire the law firm at hourly rate. At the end of the day, local government should be also working to improve what they have control over, and I think it would be beneficial if there was more focus on fixing some of the infrastructure and the sewage and water mains. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think it's completely ridiculous.
I think that could be a good way of addressing some of the flooding in town.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of virtue signaling and distraction politics by the mayor and the administration. They're saying, it's flooded a lot recently in Hoboken, and they're trying to pretend that they're not responsible at the end of the day, that Buck doesn't stop there, and also try to get more attention for his potential race higher up the hierarchy of politics. And at the end of the day, it doesn't serve the interests of the people of Hoboken, and it's disingenuous, because we know that historically Hoboken was mostly a swamp. And when they did the landfill that filled in most of it, it's not like contemporary landfill where they measure things correctly, or how they built up the shoreline of Manhattan right across the way. It was just like, cool, let's put a lot of junk there and then build some buildings on it. So most of it is still below or right at sea level. So that's, we're going to have this perennial flooding, and the answer is more pumps, not to go off on some weird crusade against the oil companies, which wouldn't be horrible, I think, if the mayor had moral consistency. if he was willing to give up his own oil dependency and turn in the city paid for armored SUV that he gets driven around in. But I don't think our current political leaders, at least in the administration, have moral consistency. I think they just like to virtue signal.
I agree. So looks like we only have about another minute or so. Any other last thoughts on what's going on locally?
Well, I mean, we talked about it on the show before. I'm sure everyone's still talking about it, how the administration and their allies on the council lost the mask mandate vote. So I think that was a big loss. They, again, used it to get a lot of attention on TV. Phil
Listen,
Cohen.
I'll say this. I think wear your mask. I understand where people are coming from. I like that the state oversees it, so everybody's following the same guidelines. I have my mask in my pocket. If people
we
aren't,
were just wearing our masks before.
if people aren't going to wear their mask in public, at least be respectful of those around you and pull your mask up every time you walk by. I wear mine walking through town. I hope everybody else does too.
I hear you.
But thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thank you for being here. So
yeah,
much
anytime.
better,
It was great talking to you.
than Peter.
We'll be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Make sure you watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. And also, every Sunday, 9:30 a.m., we post our new episode and our segments, our individual segments, on our YouTube page. You're not going to want to miss it. Please subscribe to our channel there. We'll see you there. Welcome back to the Pulse of Peter B. Peter Biancamano back in the host chair. I want to thank Kate Moda, who co-hosted our last segment. We hope to have her on in the future. And as usual, Josh, not so much. We'll see if we bring him back or not. But joining us now is his sports excellence, and that is Mr. Matt Waymeyer, our resident sports insider here on the Pulse of Peter B. Matt, what's going on, bro?
I can't complain. Talking sports, beautiful day, and not too humid, just hot enough. And I'm here, and you're here. What's not to love?
What's not to love? Sports are fired up here. We got another week to the NFL season.
Yeah.
But we're not going to touch it, Matt.
Not
we're
yet.
Not going to touch it.
Not just yet.
Because all these other sports are so hot right now that we just don't have time to cover football right now. So, obviously, earlier this week, Matt, there was a tragic loss, I would say, in the whole sports community, not just the baseball sports community. And that was, of course, the passing of Tom Seaver. Tom, terrific.
Yeah.
I'm sure you grew up watching Mr. Seaver on the mound. Any thoughts or?
It's funny. I really didn't catch Tom Seaver till the end of his career, post-Mets. He actually threw his final big league pitch as a member of the Red Sox, my team. Which is hard to admit these days. They're terrible. But anyway, it's ironic that his final game came at Shea Stadium as a member of the Red Sox when the Mets came back to crush the Red Sox and break everyone's hearts in the World Series. But I'll be honest, I really didn't realize – I mean, I knew who Tom Seaver was. I knew Tom Seaver was good. I knew Tom Seaver was great. The guy won 3 Cy Youngs, ERA titles, strikeout titles, and everything that goes with that. I didn't realize how big of an impact he had on this region, what he meant to this region, what he meant to the fan base, what he did for the Mets, who were an absolute laughingstock for the first, 6 years of their existence, since their inception in 1962. His rookie year was 67. They were still bad, but he gave you hope. Mm-hmm. Named the Rookie of the Year. And then in 69, it's as if it happened last week or last month. That's how much that title still resonates with the fan base and the people of this area, and how he put that team on his back and carry them to what was, they're called the Miracle Mets, and that's no exaggeration. It was miraculous that they went on to win a World Series that year after the struggles they had since the inception of the franchise in 1962. He was the centerpiece of that team. Goes on to win 3 Cy Youngs, and the way that he transformed that franchise and gave hope to a fan base and hope to a hopeless team, quite frankly, that's his legacy from a professional standpoint. A wonderful husband, a wonderful father, made a career out of making wine. He had his vineyard
That's right.
in his native California. That was as big of a passion for him as baseball was during his younger years. just lived a wonderful life, and the way that his death affected so many people just shows you how many lives he touched and how sorely he'll be missed.
Absolutely, and our thoughts and prayers are with the Seaver family in this very, very difficult time. But Matt, Tom would want us to move on
I believe
to
so.
talk about his New York Mets. Who, Matt, every time you think that they are making some sort of run, they win 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
It usually happens where they lose 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row after that.
Right.
I mean, as we sit here today, I believe they're 4 or 5 games under 500.
Yeah.
2/3 of the season are done, Matt. I mean, do we see them making a run in the last third of the season?
You always want to say yes because of that lineup and the bats in that lineup, but that rotation has been so compromised by opt-outs and injury and underperformance that, I mean, from one day to the next, I mean, there are some days they don't announce a starter until the day of the game.
Right.
It's such a patchwork rotation right now. You're throwing Gesellman in there, who, a marginal reliever and not even that good as a starter. Lugo's done fine, but that takes away a big piece from
Your bullpen.
from the bullpen.
Right.
Matz has been a disaster, and even Jacob deGrom, who's been great as usual. You can't rely on him to be perfect every 5th day. He finally was human against the Marlins in his most recent start. So it's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unpredictability, and right now it's just very difficult because there's nothing you can hang your hat on unless it's Jacob deGrom. And the other 4 days, it's like I said, it's patchwork.
But Luis Rojas has been criticized about this season. I mean, his rotation in the bullpen is quite interesting, or his starting pitchers, his rotation in general, I should say. And using his bullpen, I mean, starting pitchers only playing 2 or 3 innings and things like that. It's like you need somebody to go the distance like Jacob deGrom on more than just Jacob deGrom start days, right?
Yeah, you do. And I think it's a problem throughout the sport, not just with the Mets, that that starting pitchers have been babied for so long that by the time they even approach 90 or 95 pitches, God forbid, you got to get them out of the game.
Right.
We've seen it with the Yankees. Aaron Boone's been criticized for pulling Masahiro Tanaka too soon and pulling Jay Happ the other day when into the 8th inning. Cruising. I mean, it was against the Mets.
Right.
Absolutely cruising. He got up to 100 pitches, gone from the game, the Yankees lose. So it's a problem throughout the sport. I don't know why this I don't agree with this trend that why is 100 pitches the magical benchmark now?
Exactly.
I know that studies have been done and analytics, and that's all well and good, but I miss the days when a guy just took the ball 120, 125 pitches, whatever it took. You're there from start to finish, and I love hearing Keith and Ron on the on the Mets broadcast complain about it because in their day that's just what you did.
Exactly.
You took the ball, you went 9
And
unless
you
you got
played.
shelled, and you
Right.
just played.
You played.
You gave the bullpen a day off.
Really quickly, the New York Yankees. I mean, if you take out their games against the Tampa Bay Rays, they would be a much, much better
They'd be
team right
undefeated,
now.
right?
Exactly. Pretty much. Do you see them having a better, of course, with all their injuries, a better last third of the season?
Well, like you said, because they're not playing the Rays anymore, I think simply through that, they have to. Because the Rays have their number. I think the Yankees schedule this last month or so is very soft. You got a lot of Orioles on there, some Blue Jays too. As long as it doesn't say TBR, then I think the Yankees are going to be okay. But that said, Gio Urshela just got hurt. Judge is still hurt. Stanton's still hurt. It just up and down, left and right. I mean, what's going on with this team injury-wise, nobody can make heads or tails out of. You kind of chalked it up to like freak occurrences in 2019. The same thing's happening in 2020. And Aaron Boone's commented on this that, the ramped up and accelerated spring training 2.0 summer training did them no favors. And it's not just them. It's other teams across the sport too. Guys are dropping like flies left and right because they didn't have the proper time to get their bodies ready, their arms ready if you're a pitcher. And we've seen so many injuries, but it's become like to epidemic levels with the Yankees for the second year in a row. And where the blame falls, I think it's, there's different parts of the pie here, but it's a very tough situation for them.
Well, unbelievable. Well, Matt, we have probably like a minute left here, but I do want to cover which I believe is the greatest sport on earth, and that's hockey. They are moving on to the conference finals. Of course, as we sit here today, the Flyers and the Islanders have to play Game 7
Right.
tonight. But the West is set, Vegas versus Dallas. Of
And
course,
we all saw that coming.
exactly. And of course, Tampa Bay is in the Eastern Conference Finals. A real quick prediction on the West and who you believe will be the matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals.
There's some pixie dust on the Vegas Golden Knights that I think isn't going to wear off anytime soon. 2 years ago they made the final as an expansion team. Are you
I was
kidding me?
gonna say.
I see them going back for the second time in 3 years. And maybe I say this more from my heart than my head because I'm still crushed as a Bruins fan that they just got smoked by Tampa Bay. Absolutely. The Bruins won Game 1 and the series ended in 5. I mean, that's embarrassing.
Right.
To take nothing away from Tampa Bay. I think they are hands down the best team remaining in this tournament. No disrespect to the Islanders or the Flyers, but whoever emerges from that, I think they're just going to be fodder for Tampa Bay. I see a Tampa Bay-Vegas final. I see Tampa Bay raising the cup.
Tampa Bay raising the cup.
I
You
do.
heard it from Mr. Matt Waymire. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us as always.
My pleasure.
We look forward to having you on in the future to see if that prediction comes true. Not
There we
like the
go.
New York Ranger prediction.
Yeah.
Matt,
I
which
got
I'm
to
still
go. I
not
got to get
over.
one of these right.
Thanks, Matt, again. Folks, join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. Have a great week.